Welcome back to Stripe Developer Office Hours. I'm CJ. I'm joined by my colleague Matt. We are developer advocates at Stripe, and today we're going to hack around on some ACH or US bank account debit examples. So thanks so much for joining. Thanks for your time and attention. If you have any comments or questions as we go along, feel free to drop them into the YouTube chat or also into the Twitch chat. We are actually streaming live on Twitch today also. Thank you again for joining us. We'd love to just know where you're at, what you're working on. So if you have something that you're building right now, we'd love to hear about that. So go ahead and drop that down in the chat. Matt, do you want to go ahead and introduce us a little bit? Like tell us what we're going to work on today?
Yeah, sure. My name is Matt Ling. I'm another developer advocate based out of Europe. In Europe, we have a really diverse set of payment methods, which are, popular in certain countries. Ideal in the Netherlands, we have, SEPA debit across all of the, the SEPA countries, and lots of things. P24 but one of the most recent ships is actually a US based payment method. Which is I think it's Automatic Clearinghouse, ACH, which is for debiting US bank accounts. So I'm pretty well versed with debiting European bank accounts. So I was really curious to hack on an example of how can we use this new implementation of ACH debits on payment intents and using the payment element. So yeah, excited to hack on this and find out how it works.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. So this is like the payment element. If you haven't already seen the payment element, it is a new drop-in element, relatively new for Stripe, that allows you to accept several different payment method types at once. So you can have a card payment or a US bank account. We can even accept Afterpay, Klarna, WeChat Pay. This is all in the US. And so Matt was just talking all about, some of the payment methods that are common or local to countries and customers that are in the SEPA region. So if we jump over to Germany, you can see that other payment method types are presented here. Mm-hmm. So in today's demo, we're only talking about ACH, which is a US only payment method. And you might be wondering, like, wait a second, I thought you already had ACH. And if you go way back in the archives here, back to February 2020, you'll find this super old episode with a bald CJ talking about ACH bank account setup.
Our early videos certainly, they look it's like that Simpsons, when like they go back and they show you the original Simpsons. It's like, wow, did they really look like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this was an old video about ACH. If you want to still use the old ACH implementation, you can. It is definitely deprecated. That is like the one and only thing that you may have still needed to use sources and charges for directly, but you don't need to do that anymore. Now everything can be on payment intent and payment element, which we are super, super excited about because we know a lot of you are feeling the pain of having to like maintain sort of two integration paths for your payment, payment acceptance. We actually already have a question here. Gijo asks, I tried using the payment element, but collecting the billing address with tax ID and type was difficult. So I went with the customer/billing portal. The customer portal is a great option. You can redirect customers there. They can enter their tax IDs or a whole bunch of different information through Stripe checkout. And the question is, are there any plans for a billing address element? So we do have some exciting news coming soon about some different elements that are going to help you collect some of these other things, but we don't have anything to share specifically today, but stay tuned to this channel. In the next few weeks, we have some really, really fun announcements with regard to address elements and some other really fun stuff that we're going to be adding into the payment element. So what I wanted to show here was that if you go into the add payment methods documentation, you can sort of drill down to ACH debit and find this accept a payment guide for ACH. And if you follow this guide, you'll be able to collect ACH debit just directly with Stripe.js without using the payment element. I would actually recommend against doing this because if you really, the only reason you might need this is if you need server-side confirmation or if you need to present your payment methods in different forms or something. So I would definitely recommend using the payment element, which is the proper sort of payment element. Hector, how's it going? We are doing these live sessions. We're getting a little bit more regular with our live streaming sessions. So you can expect to see probably at least one a week. We have one that's around this early time. So 2 p.m. 2 p.m. GMT. Is it GMT +1?
It's +1 right
So
now, yeah. So we got nice long stretch in the evenings.
that's right. Yeah. So it's like I think it's 9 a.m. my time, which is Eastern time.
Sorry, CJ.
So
I hope you had time for coffee. And
yeah, I've already had enough coffee. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, we're going for sure. So ACH, you can also accept ACH inside of checkout. You can use payment links. You can use the hosted invoices page now supports ACH. So there's lots of different ways to accept ACH payments. But this is the one that Matt and I are going to sort of hack on today. But before we actually start implementing any code, I did want to show you that you can totally do this with no code at all. And so we'll kind of quickly go through creating a product, which we can do from our Stripe dashboard here. Maybe we want to sell a box of chocolates or something. And this is going to be a one-time price. We'll just sell them for, I don't know, $100. They're fancy.
oh, nice.
They're fancy chocolates. Okay. We can create a payment link. We'll just keep it really simple for now. Maybe we let people enter some promo codes or something at checkout. We'll say create a link. And that is it. We have now a way that people can pay and buy our box of chocolates from us. Like you could drop in images and really style this out, right, Matt?
And that payment link, right? You can share that on loads of channels, right, CJ? So that's really flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you could drop this in, I don't know, text message it to someone or WeChat message it to someone, or I don't know, post it on, you can actually like create a payment link and drop it in the comment right here on YouTube as we're watching the stream.
Not $100 chocolates, please, though. Thank you.
Yeah. So you can even, print out this QR code or download this image of the QR code now, which is also super cool. But what you may have noticed is that when we're on this page, you only see the card input. And that's because we haven't actually added the ACH payment method as one of the payment methods that we want to accept for our account. John Steele dropping in from Technical Solutions Engineering. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
John has been doing a ton of work on the Firebase extension. So if you're using Firebase, head over. There is a Stripe Firebase extension that you can install, and it allows you to do tons of cool things with Firebase. Thanks for joining, John. What I wanted to do, though, was go over to our settings. And in the payment methods section here, this is like really amazing. Before, you had to kind of like specify which payment method types you wanted to accept when you were creating your checkout session or your payment intent. But now with automatic payment methods, you can come directly in your dashboard and just say like, yes, I want to turn on ACH direct debit. And you're going to get a little message here that says, we recommend using Webhooks. That's because of it's a delayed payment notification or delayed notification payment, right, Matt? Like,
yeah, exactly. So like I'm pretty used to that terminology because in Europe we have a lot of delayed notification payment methods, which ultimately means once a transaction is made, it takes a number of days for that transaction to settle, essentially. So you have to wait and get a notification from Stripe that the payment was successful, and then you can do things like fulfill your orders or ship out your goods and services. I just wanted to go back though to this idea of like managing things in the dashboard, because there is this amazing side effect, which means that, let's say you wanted to add a brand new payment method to your integration. You don't have to make a deployment. You don't have to add even though it was just adding a new string to an array, which is a very simple thing to do when you're coding. But you did have to deploy that, and you did have to maybe do some testing. And now you don't have to do any of that anymore. It's like a click of a button, and you can sell into all of these markets all around the globe. So it's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty handy that you can just drop in. You can just drop into the dashboard, make a change, and now you're unlocking access for more customers to be able to pay. Paul also joining us here from Europe with some peanut gallery information about European payment methods. So, all right, let's drop in. Now, if we go to that same payment link that we just created, now we have this US bank account flow that we can go through. Just wanted to show it's like super, super easy to get started. You can just create a payment link, send this to people. They can buy your chocolates for $100, and you're off to the races with no code at all. So yeah, pretty special.
Exciting.
All right, Matt, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's code some stuff.
All right, let's code some stuff. So should we share the link here, or are we gonna get DDoS? What do you think?
We can try. I guess worst case, we might need to create a new REPL, but we certainly we've hit that problem before on popular streams. But yeah, we can try.
Okay. So if you want to follow along, you can head over to that URL and you'll see the page as we're building it. And then also later in the description, we'll share a link where you can fork the replet that we're using and then kind of like play around with it yourself.
Nice.
So yeah, so here's the plan for today. We're gonna create a payment intent on the server. That's like the very first step. As soon as you land on the payment page, create a payment intent on the server, pass its client secret back to the client. Then we will use the payment intent client's secret to new up a payment element. That's where we're going to show all the different payment method types that we support. And then we will put that inside of a form that when submitted, we will make sure that we're confirming payment. And then Stripe.js is really going to take it from there and ultimately redirect the customer to some success page. And that's really it. If we have time, we'll get into adding some webhook handlers and success pages, but let's just see how far we get.
Yep.
Cool. So Matt, you want to start out by adding a route for creating payment intents?
Yeah,
okay,
cool. So we're going to need a post route for that. And we're going to call it create payment.
Create payment intent.
And that takes a block in the Ruby land.
Okay.
Let's see. And then we're going to need, we'll create a payment intent variable, which is going to be a Stripe payment intent.
Yep. Stripe payment intent create.
Yeah, leave out the curly. It's Ruby. We can leave that out.
Yeah.
So what are we charging? $10.99 for whatever product we're selling?
Yeah, sure. Let's sell some more chocolates. Yeah.
The cheaper chocolates. Okay, yeah. I think it's USD. Obviously for selling to we're selling in the US for US bank accounts. And actually that's kind of all we need, I believe, to get going with just the payment intent. Let's see. So we probably want to return a client secret.
Yep.
And that's going to be the payment intent client secret, which we'll use later to confirm the payment. And I believe it's this.
Yep.
And then we're probably going to want to send back some JSON to the client.
Cool.
Cool. Nice.
That looks great. So by default, when we create a payment intent with just an amount and a currency, it's going to use a payment method type list with just the card element in it. But we'll come back and talk about that in a little bit, how to enable automatic payment methods versus specifying them. And so we'll kind of like come back and iterate on this.
Nice. Yeah.
And also like this, so this is going to like make an API call to Stripe with the amount and the currency to create a payment intent. The Stripe API is going to return some JSON that's going to be hydrating an instance of this payment intent thing that we're then going to like render the JSON back for. And so the one thing I wanted to show or like talk about, at least before we go too far, is that like we're setting our Stripe API key here from the environment variables, and inside of Replit, you can define environment variables here under secrets. So we have like our Stripe secret key is defined there. We have a Stripe publishable key also defined there. So in case that's something that you're curious about, like how are we actually authenticating this API call to Stripe? That's like where it's happening.
Yep, and that's like pretty good practice because like you don't want to commit your keys to a source control or something like that, so you can kind of manage on the outside of the execution path if you like.
Right. Cool. All right. Should we jump over to the index?
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, we already have Stripe installed. Cool. Stripe.js. Nice.
Right. Yeah. So we're loading Stripe.js from js.stripe.com. That's another best practice. You never want to like download it and use Stripe.js locally. You always want to use the one loaded from js.stripe.com. And then, I don't know, should we like, do you want to talk through as I type what we're going to do here?
Yeah. So I think probably we're going to need a form, which will catch the submit event when the form is submitted, and will prevent the form from actually submitting. And we're going to use Stripe.js to use the payment element to drive the payment. In this case, what CJ is doing is creating a div with the ID of payment element, and this is where we're going to mount the element, which is like terminology in Stripe.js. So I don't know if you've ever integrated with the card element. It's pretty normal. You create a card element in JavaScript, which we'll see. We're going to use a payment element in this case, and then you mount it on that div. And what Stripe.js does is it creates all of the structure for you, basically all of your form fields, input fields, and all of the dynamic things that happen when you're changing when you're selecting different payment methods. Yeah, cool. So in JavaScript, we're always going to want our publishable key. to initialize Stripe in the client. And then I think next up, probably we need to initialize an instance of elements, which we'll use to create the payment element as well, right? So this is all going to be pretty standard stuff if you've ever done a direct integration with Stripe. Cool. I hope you didn't hear my stomach rumbling there.
No. Sorry. It's dinner time or lunchtime, like a late lunch there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is what I was saying earlier. We're going to mount this particular payment element onto that div by referencing it by its ID, and we'll see that when we reload on the actual on the front end, and we'll eventually see the payment element being rendered into that div. Yeah, so we do need to fetch but create the payment intent, which we saw in the server.js is actually returning the client secret as JSON, and we're going to use that to initialize we're going to use that to confirm to confirm the payment. So I think here we can I'm going to like type a little bit here. I think we're going to probably have this back, right, CJ? We're going to get the client secret.
Yeah.
If we sorry to roll over your function there.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
So like, we're just using the built-in fetch API to make a post request to the server / create payment intent.
Mm-hmm.
We're not actually passing anything back right now, but like you could in practice like pass back some cart or some line items or something that would then ultimately be used to figure out how much you want to charge on that payment intent. And then, we get back this client secret. The reason we need to do this thing on page load is that now when we initialize Stripe elements, we actually need to pass in the client secret that's going to be used to set up the payment element.
Mm-hmm. So
should we check this out? Let's see. Something is up with the Replit like previewer here. So this preview hasn't actually been working, but over here, we see JSON. All right. So what's going on? Oh, await can only be used inside async functions. So I guess we got to like wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to do a document. And we'll listen to DOM content loaded, I guess. Yeah, that's my bad. I banged in await there without.
No worries. No worries. I don't know. This is just kind of like a hacky way to make sure that we have like an async function. That way we can call these, or we can use await inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
So now if we refresh, that's not a function. I always spell this wrong. Add event listener.
Listener. Yeah, that looks good.
That better? Let's see.
I think so.
All right. Create payment intent is throwing a 500. That's cool.
Interesting. I got it wrong. Okay, let's see what I did wrong. Okay, 500. Okay.
Okay.
Amount is in cents. That's fine. Currency. Do we need to add payment methods actually, or specify at least? Although 500 would be not the right.
So if it's a 500 error, the first thing we want to do is like check our server logs.
Yep.
And so at the top here, it's telling us undefined local variable or method payment intents. So my guess is that we're just
it was plural. Sorry, that's my bad.
Cool. All right, you already fixed it before we could see it.
Yeah,
nice.
Simple. Sorry.
Oh, this is cool. This is
I can
nice.
roll it back. So basically, here what I did was classic. Is it singular? Is it plural? And I put in plural. So
cool.
Okay, undefined variable. Cool. That's easy.
This is an interesting style of stream where like we're both able to type into the editor, and so I'm not sure like when Matt's typing in the editor, I'm like, okay, wait, hold on, I got to go back to that other screen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good.
I'm gonna change them.
It's going to take us a minute to practice this. Okay, but this is the payment element, so it's rendering. For some reason, it's also rendering the word JSON up here, so we'll have to go figure out what's going on with that.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? It's at the very top of that HTML file, literally the word JSON there, which I just removed.
It was like while I was typing application JSON, for some reason I was like typing JSON and I didn't see it print out, and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was at the top. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the cursor somehow landed up there. All right. Should we try to do some CSS? I don't know. Like, do you want to?
Okay, that's stretching my abilities, but we can try.
Okay, let's try it. Let's see. Can we just drop it in here? What would be really cool is if we could just use Tailwind. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. You know what? Let's just keep it as is so that we can keep going and keep talking about like the actual implementation. We've got the card element. And what do we need to change, Matt, to like make it show the ACH part?
So, I mean, we need to make sure it's, we turned it on in the dashboard already. So we need to basically say to the payment intent, look, we want you to use automatic payment methods, right? So we want you to use the payment methods that we have configured via the dashboard, right? So we're going to have to go back to the server RB. I see you're already there. Yeah, there you go. Automatic payment methods enabled true. Perfect.
All right.
And this should give us everything that we've enabled.
All right. Look at that.
There you go.
US bank account.
Looks
fantastic,
great.
Right?
Looks great.
So yeah, now we can like just go through the entire flow as if we're, I don't know, paying. But this doesn't actually do anything, right? Because we haven't wired up the form yet. So
yep.
Yeah, we'll hold, like, yeah, keep your suspense because like we gotta finish this part over here.
Yeah. So I guess inside, I'll jump back into index.html. I guess what we want to do is we need to add another event listener for the submission of the form, right? Once it's all mounted and everything.
Yeah. Do you want to work on that?
Yeah, sure. Shall I do it in here? Is it okay?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, let's add an event listener. Add event listener. Okay, we're going to listen for, oh wait, no, you know what? I need the form. So form is going to be a document dot use, whoops, sorry.
The tab auto completion in here always tricks me because I think it's like, oh, you're in HTML, so you must want to autocomplete, some document tag or something. Yeah.
Okay. So we only have one form on there, so I'm just gonna just use form.
Okay. Cool.
And then we want to add an event listener. I think to the form add event listener, and we're going to listen for the submit of that form.
Yep, that's right.
I'm going to copy your cool new school.
Oh yeah, fancy.
I totally would have gone function there, but okay, cool. And we also want to pass the event here, right? Or the event object. Whoops.
That's
and
right.
We want to make sure that we prevent the default, which would be the form submission.
Yep.
And then after that, we want to take care of confirming the payment, right? So let's say actually it would be just, and we're not going to do it, but it's worth mentioning that when that form is submitted, it's good practice to actually disable the form submission again. So disable that button and put a loading status in there, so that your customer knows something is happening, and they also can't submit the form again, right? Because these things are going to take a couple of seconds to to complete. But we're not going to do it right now. But here you might do something like disable button or set a loading state or something.
Sure.
But instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to like head on, and we probably want this to be. I think this is going to be confirm. Let's see. I'm going to go back and probably have to change that, but we'll probably want to do something like Stripe confirm payment.
Yep. Nice.
And we're going to want to pass. Oops. Let's give it some angle brackets here. We're going to want to pass the whole elements object.
That's right.
And then some confirmation params. So confirm params.
Cool.
And that's going to be an object, isn't it? I think
it is. Yeah.
There. And we want the return URL. Cool. So let's see. I feel like this should be. We probably want to get like, I don't know. We probably want to get a potential error back from this call.
Oh no! Did I move you up to the top? I did. Okay. So when I started typing, it like moved your cursor to the very top.
Aha, that's why we got the JSON last time.
Yeah, that's where we got.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm just gonna the error, and I think that wants to be async as well. So we'll need to await that. Yeah, you go ahead, CJ. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good.
Yeah. So Stripe confirm payment. This is that thing that's actually going to open the thing that's actually going to be called once we submit the form. So when you're going through the payment element UI, the step where you actually enter in this, where you're actually picking the bank account and going through this flow here, this step is actually called collect bank account information. So when we click on test institution here or something, I refreshed the page and now it's no longer loading. Probably because I refreshed while the JavaScript was being changed or something.
Yeah, we may have broken something in the meantime.
That's okay. Let's see what's going on in our console. Await is only valid in async functions, so I think we need to. Yeah.
Here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I knew I was going to have to go back to
that. No worries. Right. So this step here is called collect bank account information. But that doesn't actually confirm it, right? The confirm happens after you click the pay button down here in the corner. So if we go through the flow now and we say like, yes, we agree. We didn't actually enter like our name or anything, but we can pick one of these test mode bank accounts. In practice too, that would show you like your list of actual bank accounts that you can connect to. Mm-hmm. Test institution would be replaced by like, different banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, et cetera, et cetera. And then here, when we click on this pay button, that's what's actually calling confirm payment. And we were redirected to this success URL. So that redirect URL is like where we're redirecting after we successfully confirm payment. So that's where we're redirected back to. And if you look at the URL params or like the query string params, you'll see that we actually have, I don't know if you can I can't zoom into the, to the window here, but yeah, we've got the ID of the payment intent. We also have the payment intent's client secret. So there's a lot we can do with that on a success page.
Do you want to do you have Alfred installed?
I don't. I don't
think
okay. So. Yeah.
Yeah. This has kind of cool trick where you can really enlarge a piece of text, just like
with nice.
Alfred and Alfred, but that's for another day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So should we make a success page? Let's.
Yeah.
Just okay, add a file, success.html, and I don't know, HTML. Let's see. Okay, so it completes some, but not others.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Got it. I know Matt and I are both Vim users, so I think we're just totally thrown off by this.
I'll go grab the Stripe JS code from the other file. I'm going to cargo cult it and put it here.
Okay, cool.
So speed this up a little bit. Oops. This is just going to be called success page.
Nice. Yeah. And so the idea is that when you're redirected to the success page, you can show some status of the payment intent. And because we have that client secret, we're able to use Stripe.js client side to retrieve the payment intent. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we need to do is get the payment intent client secret out of those query string params. So I think you can say params is new URL query params. I don't know what I forget what this is. You remember?
I can look it up on a tiny demo. Yeah, I think I have it somewhere. Let's see.
I don't know if it's this console.log params.
I think it's really close.
Here. What is it?
My tiny demo is loading slowly. I'm afraid you need
to get payment intent client secret. That should be what we want. Okay, yeah. Jonathan confirmed. Yeah, it's URL search params. All right.
Awesome.
So we've got our client secret now. We can say okay, this is client secret. And what we can do now is we can actually use Stripe.js again to retrieve Stripe.retrieve payment intent and pass in that client secret. Mm-hmm. And that's going to return a promise that we're going to have to wrap in another async thing. But whatever. We also need our client, or I'm sorry, our publishable key here so that we can actually authenticate the request to retrieve the payment intent with its client secret. So that'll return a promise that we're going to await, and that'll give us back the payment intent.
Yep.
But again, we instead of using the DOM content loaded thing, should we write it an iffy? Things like the immediately invoked function expression with async just to get it inside. This is one of the nice things that's in Dino. You don't actually need you can use await at the top level with Dino.
Cool.
Pretty handy. Yeah.
Maybe it's worth noting as well, while you do that, CJ, retrieving that payment intent with the client secret won't give you everything that's on the payment intent. And if you go to the API ref, there are certain attributes you can see that are marked as retrievable via client secret, and it trips up some people sometimes. But one of them should be the status, right? I think that's kind of what we're after. Mm-hmm. So if you got the payment intent object, if my memory serves me correctly, I hope I'm not lying to you.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It should be there. Yeah. So you won't get everything back, but you'll get everything that you reasonably need to show a customer on a front end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in this case, specifically what we wanted to show was that any next actions and then any status, right? Which is retrievable with publishable key. So just in case it's still processing or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, like maybe we should just have like a div with like ID status.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we can just do like status dot inner text is payment intent dot status. Oh gosh. Does that work?
I guess
No.
we'll need to like have this as a query selector, to like append to it in the first place.
Maybe I think status is actually like, since it's the ID, there's like this super weird shortcut where like we actually have access to it in JavaScript. Well, I don't know. Let's see if I'm
TIL
wrong.
for sure. Nice. Yeah, super cool. I'm learning.
Is this okay? So for some reason, it's saying that we don't actually have Stripe. Stripe is not a function. Is this what's going on here? How come we don't have Stripe as a function? Script tag. Script tag. js.stripe.com.
That looks good. Constripe, Stripe. I don't know. Just putting in a semicolon at the end there.
Okay. Yeah, that should work.
This looks good.
Okay. For some reason, it's now not sad anymore. Okay.
Let me. I don't know. This is a bit of a weird hack. I'm just gonna. Can you reload now and just see what it says?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's being strict about that semicolon there.
Okay.
I
don't know.
The initializer.
Oh, maybe because we're like doing the iffy thing like right after it or something. I don't know. That's odd.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, like we're not seeing the actual div show up with status. Like it's not actually writing to it. So maybe I was wrong here. So yeah, let's do I don't know. Status is right. Or is inner? Yeah, maybe is inner. Yeah. Okay. Undefined. Why is it undefined? Intent.
ID status hash status looks good.
Right. Oh, you know what? It's we're not deconstructing it as it comes back. So this should be like.
Oh right.
This, I think. Oops. Okay, now we have succeeded. Fantastic. All right, so we've got a successful payment intent. Okay, cool. Should we talk about Microdeposit verification now?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So some customers might not be able to do instant verification with their bank accounts when they're using ACH. So there is the option to do microdeposits. So basically, two small amounts. There's two options here. Either an identifier will be with a 1 cent deposit will be made to the bank account, and the user can take that identifier and return back to Stripe, and then supply that identifier in order to verify the bank account. The other option is there'll be two very small amounts deposited that only the customer will know about because they'll be in their in their account, and they'll come back and they'll supply those values. So I think, have you already ran through that flow? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so this is like the microdeposit flow. So maybe I'll do it again, right? Like if we say, oh gosh, maybe I already went too far. Like if you pick US bank account and then enter manually, or if you say like, oh, I want to pick this test institution, but then you decide you don't want to actually like go through the flow where you're picking the bank account and entering in your credentials to connect the bank account and immediately, what you can do is verify manually instead. And here you would enter in like, okay, here's my routing number, my account number. And then when you say continue, this will say, okay, we've initiated the process of like depositing two tiny amounts into your bank account. And then later, like several days later, you'll come back and like type in, here's the amounts that I entered.
Yeah, they're like just little secrets that only you know, and that to verify your bank account. So it's really quite smart and nice.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that in my experience, I've only ever had microdeposit verification happen, when I'm like setting up utilities or whatever, where they make two deposits with different amounts. But with the new microdeposit verification, there is also like a possibility that the transaction will have this special sort of number on it. It'll be like SM, some set of numbers and letters. And then this is your, like this XXXX would be replaced by some example, like secret code. So you're actually just going to get a 1 cent deposit that has like this secret code in it. Right. So if we say, yeah, if we say done and now we say pay, oh gosh, we have to like tell it who's paying. But
Makes
now
sense.
if we pay, now the status of the payment intent is requires action. It's not succeeded. So it didn't succeed because we require that someone go and like actually enter in those micro deposit verifications.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, okay. So now what do we do? Right.
So the good news is, yeah, there is there should be a URL supplied along with the next action that we can leverage to send users to.
Okay.
So let's see. Okay, yeah, let's have a, there you go. Let's see. There should be in that next actions hash there, or object. There's verified microdeposits, and there you go. There's a hosted verification URL that we can send users to go and actually to enter those two values, or best case, the secret identifier beginning with SM, or two deposit amounts.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So, so I guess what we might want to do is on our success page, if it is requires action, let's add like a link to the page that has this hosted verification URL.
Yeah.
Okay. So if payment intent status is like requires action, and like I guess if the payment intent what is it next action type is verify with microdeposits. Then we want to, like, I don't know, add some other div. I don't know. What do you think? Or maybe just like an A tag.
Yeah, we can just populate the href on an A.
Whoops, that's like the wrong thing.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna call it micro, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, and then we can just say like style is display none, just so it doesn't show until we want to show it. So then maybe we can like grab onto this const micro.
Yep. Looks good. Yep, that's going to be the URL. And then, oh, that's a long one.
It is a long one, yeah.
I don't think you got any typos there. That's nice.
I don't know.
I guess
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know. That's like, yeah.
Yeah, I does micro, just totally out of interest, microlink hidden false there work? I'm not too great with the kind of DOM in that regard. But totally interesting. I didn't use this display block like that in ever.
It might. I don't know. Are you using hidden? Did you use like, yeah?
Oh,
like,
wait, yeah, you might. That's what it was.
Like
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Or and then I can just do like hidden false. I don't know. Like I've been jumping between React and HTML so much that I'm like, okay, all right. So here we go. We've got verify microdeposits. We click on verify microdeposits, and that brings us to a Stripe hosted page.
Super
where then
cool.
we can enter in that code, the magic code.
Yeah.
This is a test mode page, and now we need to like enter in the test mode code. If we can't find it, we have to like go back to our bank or check again. And we should be able to, there must be some test strings here, right?
That's a good question. I'm just, let's see what the test strings say, the magic strings.
Okay. While you're doing that, what I wanted to do was go back over to these docs and look at the documentation, because if you implement ACH yourself, like on your own page where you need to have server-side confirmation, you can also build your own microdeposit verification flow. So I wanted to just show that. We're going to go to bank debits, accept a payment, and down, I believe it's down at the bottom of this page, you can do microdeposit only verification. And then you can collect that microdeposit. You can collect the microdeposits using Stripe.js directly. Okay. So so this is the method on Stripe.js. It is stripe.verify microdeposits for payment. You pass in the client secret for the payment intent. you pass in either the descriptor code that they entered or the 2 amounts that they entered, and that will do the verification. So if you're building your own custom flow and you don't want to use the Stripe posted page at all, then that's how you would sort of implement it.
So the string we want, I believe, is 11AA, magic string to AA as in apples.
Oh, AA.
Yeah,
Got
sorry.
it. Like that.
My accents, yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you for your payment. Amazing.
Excellent.
So if we go back over to our dashboard, we should have like several payments here. So lots of these are incomplete. That's because every time we load the page, it creates a new payment, right? Like, but also this, I believe this might have been the one that we just verified with Microdeposits, and it's still in a pending state because it takes a little while to process. So if you come in here and you see it pending, it's possible that it's just like going through, I think it's a 1 minute, a 1 minute delay, right?
In test mode, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, this is sort of the entire flow for implementing what you might have as a success page and being able to support both microdeposits and instant verification. Now, there is a way, right, that we can go over to the server and say we only want to support instant, right, and not like both automatic. So yeah, actually, like let's talk about the different verification methods, right?
Excuse me.
Do you remember where those are?
Let's see.
Is it under payment methods?
I think the variable is payment method options, and then you give it US bank account. As an array of options, which is verification method instant. So there you go. Payment method options. You're right, exactly. So we need to pass this to when we're creating our payment intent.
Got it. So yeah, so you can either say I only want to verify with microdeposits, or I only want to verify with instant, or using this default, which is automatic, meaning like you're going to try instant verification, but you're going to fall back to microdeposits. And again, I know that we support most major banks, but I don't know exactly how many there are, or if there's like very small, maybe like there's very small credit unions that have ACH, but they don't have like the infrastructure or the technology to support this instant verification. So in those cases, you might want to still continue supporting microdeposits. So I would probably just use the default of automatic, but let's go ahead and like force that they can only do instant for demonstration purposes. So this is going to be like what? Payment method options.
Yep.
Like that? This is how we do it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. And now if we go over to our page, which is here, and go back to our, you may close this page now. Okay. I guess we want to go back to not localhost. We want to go to this thing. And if we go through the flow now we don't have an option to manually verify. And down here, we shouldn't see the UI to go through and do microdeposit verification. So that's super cool. Yeah, it's pretty handy. All right. Should we? Yeah, it looks like we've got some time, Matt. What do you think? Should we do some webhook or?
Yeah, I think we'll get it done. Yeah. So just real quick, like because it's a delayed notification method we mentioned earlier on, it can take up to 4 days to be notified about the settlement and the actual completion of that payment. You need the best way to handle these is to have a webhook event or a webhook endpoint in your system, which is a post route into your system. So much like you're doing, you might, make post requests to the Stripe API. Stripe can actually make post requests back to your system to notify you of important events, especially like getting paid. So I think that's what we'll do, right? We'll put a post route into our app. And shall I start hacking on that, or let's see?
Yeah. Like, do you want? Yeah. I was just going to grab the web.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Stuff from here.
That's a good idea.
So we have like an example for Sinatra. So I'm just going to grab the webhook handler code there and drop it in, and then we can like make sure that it's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Yeah, so maybe I can speak around this because I've
Sure.
done a lot of episodes on webhooks recently. So, the payload is the raw request body that's coming from Stripe. So that's the event object. You can read about the event object in the API ref, and so that's really the raw request post from Stripe. On line 36, we have the a so-called Stripe signature, right? So basically, the signature is calculated on Stripe side using the event data and a secret key that only Stripe and you know. So basically, we send that header that signature rather along as a header. It's a hash of the event data. Now, on line 40 to 42, we're using the client library's construct event, which internally takes the payload, right, which is the raw request body. It takes the signature header, which is the signature in the header, which we just covered, and then also the endpoint secret. And what it's doing inside, it's going to recalculate the signature based on the payload and the secret. So if you can recalculate that signature, which is all happening automatically for you, by the way, inside construct event, then you know that that event really did originate at Stripe, and any maybe potential bad actor who is like posting things to your webhook endpoint, you can just ignore those, and you won't have to worry. Yeah, and then a little bit further down, we have, okay, we're handling a couple of different errors. So signature verification, that's for example if the event didn't originate from Stripe. And then also ultimately, we're using this case statement to have a look at the type of the event. And if it's a payment intent succeeded, then what we do is we extract the object from the event. So what does that mean? When the event object is its own object, and it always refers to another object, which is the kind of the referential object. It could be checkout session, it could be payment intent, it could be charge. So what we need to do is we need to extract the object in order to refer to its payment intent ID. Yeah, so that's kind of like, yeah, a bit of a long way around, but let's see, is my cursor? Yeah. And then of course we're handling payment failed. So you would choose in your webhook configuration in the dashboard, or well, you can do it there, which events that you want to listen to, and these are two of the most important, obviously.
Great. And you might be wondering, like, how does Stripe know where to send that webhook notification? And so we haven't actually told it yet. So let's go. Should we go over, maybe to the dev dashboard here under the webhook section? We want to add a webhook endpoint, and the URL is going to be our replit URL /webhook. And then we want to select, which events do we want to select here?
Well, we're handling payment intent succeeded and payment intent payment failed currently in the webhook code. So it makes sense to choose those two at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we do requires action processing? Maybe just to see a few more of these.
Yeah.
Print them out.
We'll need to, we can do something like console log the event types as they're coming in, but in our case statement, we can have code that will handle each one of those types. And this is really cool. This is, if you haven't seen this, this is the new webhook configuration interface, and it gives you the code how to handle that, which is just super cool.
Yeah, I think I might just grab that because that seems a little bit more
it was generated for us. Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, and then perhaps we should just log the event type every time it comes in or something.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so then we'll just say puts, I don't know, new webhook event.type. Okay, and so now in our server log, we should start to see some of those come in as we're hacking on stuff. Oh, but the one thing that I forgot, we didn't actually finish setting up our endpoint. So we say add events.
Yep.
Add endpoint.
Cool.
And now this is where the little signing secret is hidden. It's under this reveal link. So we need to click on reveal, and this is going to be our endpoint secret, endpoint.
And you know that
secret,
exactly. And you know that's you. Oftentimes there's a little confusion between like secret keys for the API and secret keys for the endpoint, but you can always tell because the keys are prepended with WH webhook sec webhook secret, and your secret key will be SK. So you can just eyeball that, and you'll know which is which. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's go through the flow, shall we?
Yep.
Payment intent succeeded. Okay, that must have happened for an older one. All right. So we're going to say
if we were doing like kind of a production build out, like the Stripe CLI, for example, for triggering this event, like if you didn't want to go and click through all of that stuff in the interface, like you could use the Stripe CLI to trigger like a payment intent succeeded, and you would see it. We would need to use a listener to post to our to that particular endpoint. But yeah, you can see those being created. We might not need to like wire that up now, but just it's a really great tip that you can just trigger those straight right on the command line.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So we're seeing them flow in, right? Like,
nice.
I don't know if I can scroll down and then just refresh this page. A payment intent is being created, right?
Right.
As soon as we load the page, we are getting a post to /create payment intent, and that is resulting in the payment intent.created webhook event firing on our Stripe account that's being delivered to this Replit instance that's running.
And that already tells us that the signature verification has already succeeded, right? Because we didn't error out with a signature verification error. We got to like, this is the new event type. So we're already good to go. We could start writing like custom business logic to like enqueue, some sort of jobs to go and, fulfill your service. Send your chocolates out. The $100
yes,
chocolate.
exactly. So this, I think in payment intent succeeded, that's like where we want to actually send chocolates, right?
Right.
And then, I mean, if you are provisioning access to like a service or something, then maybe you do want to give them access while they're waiting for their microdeposit verification. Maybe you do want to give them access while it's processing. That's up to you. But then ultimately you'll have to like deprovision access when payment failed later or something. So in order to just keep it simple, you can just, actually fulfill whatever they bought with payment intent succeeded. The other thing too that I thought might be interesting is like if you have your own custom emails inside of the requires action payment intent event, this is where you might say like send an email with the like microdeposit URL. If I recall correctly, I believe this might be something we send for you by default. Is that, do you remember if that's okay?
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. If somebody attempts, if you provide a billing email as part of, the checkout flow, and we have that email for the customer, then I believe we will send out a microdeposit request essentially. But you do need to have the email address set in the billing details in the flow.
Right. And we do collect that, right? When we're saying US bank account, we're collecting the email address right here. Like that is a required field from the payment element. And so by default, we've got this like send ACH direct debit mandate and microdeposit verification emails. But if for some reason you wanted, like, again, if you're building this custom form yourself and you want to do the microdeposit verification on your own, you could disable the email here and then add your own code inside of the webhook handler that sends that verification email. Because again, on that payment intent next action verify with microdeposit hosted verification URL. There's no way I got this right on the first shot, but
you might
like, you can look it up. But this is like what we want to like actually send them to, right? So if they, so we disabled it in the dashboard. We click save. So now, like for instance, our dashboard isn't going to send those verifications anymore. We also need to go back to our thing and like re-enable automatic or so that we can still do the microdeposit verification thing and enter bank account details manually. Let's see if we got that URL right on the first try. Okay, so done. And then in our server log, we should see that URL be printed out, right? If we got it right, and we didn't, because it's a huge error. Let's see. That's what I meant.
Microdeposit. Oh shoot!
Right.
So close.
Okay, but so instead of going through the entire flow again, what we can do is go to our Stripe dashboard and go to the events section, and we can find the webhook event that was sent for the requires action method, grab the event ID, and then from the Stripe CLI, say Stripe events resend, and then put that in, and it should resend the event to our webhook endpoint. And we failed again, I think. Let's see
what we got.
Maybe not.
Can you resend that from the dashboard? I think you can also.
I feel like we may have
There you go.
Oh yeah, here we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, just out of interest. That's, I think I used that recently, and it's like super handy. Just you don't have to go through the whole flow again. There you go. Succeeded.
Okay, yeah. Show
Nice.
succeeded. So let's see if our server log. Nice. Okay.
There you go.
So we got a requires action. Now we're going to send an email with this Microdeposit verification URL, and that's going to use the Stripe hosted surface. So
Perfect.
Cool. What do you think, Matt? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we got through a lot there.
We did. We totally did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing me on that journey.
No, yeah. Thanks for joining me. Like, yeah, it was. This is such a fun format, right? Being able to sort of like hack and replit together, like.
Yeah, I really like the pair programming aspect to it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's fun. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks again for watching. If people have questions or they want to reach out or they have support, what like.
You can. Well, we've lots of places you can contact us. Stripe Dev on Twitter. We're always monitoring there and answering questions. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please do reach out to us. Our Twitter handles are right here: CJAV_dev for CJ, Mattlink_dev for me. And you can also join in the conversation on our Discord server. And there's tons of interesting folks and conversation there.
Awesome. So Discord is discord.gg/Stripe. And then, thanks again so much for your time and attention. And we will be back live again, I think, in a couple weeks. But there's also going to be some other live streams. There's a dev chat that happens at 5 p.m. on every other Tuesday. So I think there's going to be some really exciting content coming out on that side too. So again, thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.